Today we're going to start the ball turner, the Hemingway kit's spherical turning tool. I'm going to do this bit today, the body, this piece here. Now the plans show it made in two pieces. It shows the body, which is that piece, and that piece for the side arm, which I'm not going to do. I've managed to find a lump of metal which will be big enough to do it all in one. Now I've managed to get that from this big lump, which was kindly donated to the channel by my brother. I've managed to cut a big piece out of that, and therefore, instead of making what it actually suggests is you screw this to the side, which to me is just going to do that if it comes under any load, unless you rebate it in, which I don't really want to do anyway. I'd rather make it in one, so I'm going to get this to shape. I'm not going to show that part of it, or I might show a little bit. I'm going to get this into shape now, which is this shape here. That's roughly what I've got to rough out, so I'll get over to the mill and try and get this squared up after all my very poor bandsawing. What I'm going to do is rough out the shape now. I'm going to get this shape with the side arm that goes into the tool holder. I'm going to put a roughing bit in and rough out either side to give me that shape. Right, I've got to change this cutter out now for a standard cutter. This is a roughing cutter. I've just created a reference surface there and set my DRO to 0, so I know now when I come back in with the new cutter I can set it down on top there and it'll be exactly the same height as this one. Right, I'll put the normal cutter back in. So I'm just going to clean off these edges here and take 3mm off the top. Right, that's the rebates complete. I'm just going to skim 3mm off of there to get that down to 12. That's the rebate complete. What I'm going to do now is just put some chamfers on there, just to show we're a little bit civilised. There we go, got it all in one rather than having that piece bolted on there. We've got the tool all in one, give it a lot more rigidity. I've just got to get the ends cleaned up and get it down to dimension lengthways now. I've got it cleaned up a bit. I haven't cleaned up the ends because most of that will be bored away, so that's the next operation. Right, I've got to bore that away, which is this bore here. It says 3/4 ream, but it's got to take these oil-like bearings, so I'll bore it out to the size of these bearings. I'll get it set up in the mill. I mean, the instructions say do it in the lathe, but that's for the original square block, but I can't really do it in the lathe. Well, I could, but I've got no need to do it in the lathe because I can set up the boring head once I've drilled it out and do it on the mill. Right, just going to press the bearings in. Right, I've got an oil hole to put in here now to oil the bearings when it's in use, obviously. Right, I'm going to drill that now for a oil hole, which is this hole here. Right, that's a 4.4 hole for an M58 tap. Now I don't need to go very far in. There we go. I'll take a little oiler like that. That's this part more or less complete now. So let's get on to the next stage. Now the drawing actually calls up to make the head section, which is this piece. It calls up for that to be made, and then these, which are the dovetails, are made separately and then fixed on there. I'm not over keen on that idea. The only advantage of that idea is if wear did come into it later on, there's a possibility that you could adjust them easier, but it's going to be a very low use tool. The chances of me wearing that out is pretty remote. So what I'm going to do, I've taken another old lump of steel that I've got, and I'm going to make this all in one with the dovetails in here. So the dovetails will be actually fixed to that rather than screwed to it. The advantage that will give me, well, the disadvantage is there's a lot more milling, but the advantage is I will be able to drill this 1/2 inch hole in there with full material. Otherwise you've got to put a piece of sacrificial material in there to be able to drill that hole. You can't use the slide because the hole on the slide doesn't go the full length. So I think in the long term, although that's going to take me longer to get this cleaned up to size, in the long term I think that's going to be better. Well, that's just the way I prefer to do it. It might come back and bite me later on, but we'll have to see. So I'm going to get over to the mill, get this 2-dimension, and then we'll start milling out and drilling out and putting the dovetails in. Now, because I'm not following the plan on this, I've actually got my dovetails built into this piece of stock, so that means there's a piece of waste here and the hole to drill through there, which I'm now going to get on with because I want to remove most of this material, so there's very little of the dovetail left to take out with the cutter. Now, what I have noticed is the build notes on this particular kit are, well, were probably written in the 1930s. They're such archaic methods that I'm not even using the build notes, so I'm just using the drawings and going from there, because the build notes are absolutely useless. I mean, the build notes are okay if you haven't got a mill, you've only got a lathe with a slide on it, then you know you might find the build notes useful, but as far as I'm concerned they're not, so I'm not even using them. I'm just going to do it directly from the plan. So anyway, let's get over to the mill and get this hole put in here, which is this one. There's absolutely no mention of this hole on the build notes, and similarly on this piece has got to have a similar channel cut in there. There is no mention of how that's carried out. I might do that with an end mill perhaps. I'll work that out when I get to it. So anyway, this is the project we're going to get on with now. What I'm going to do now is just hog out the centre part, which is this part here. Just going to hog that out down to this base level and just leave the two little dovetail pieces there, and then I can just machine these two holes before I do the dovetails. Right, I've got it milled out. It's not to full dimension, but it's okay. What I'm going to do now is put these two features in here. These two. That's a 4mm quarter through hole with a 1/2 inch rebate, or 1/2 inch countersink I should say, and that's a 1/2 inch hole all the way through for the, sorry, this front one is for the thumb bolt. This one is for the end of the shaft, the shaft that you pivot it on. What I've done is I've changed the 1/2 inch measurements to 12mm, including this channel. It's just easier for me because most of my equipment is metric. I have got some imperial stuff, but it's a bit easier doing it in metric. So I'll get on and do these two features. Right, I've just created a couple of little flats so that I can start the drills. Just cut those out. Right, just going to ream that now out to 6mm. A bit of a twist in that reamer. starting to come on. Cleaned it up a bit. You've got the two features there, one for the shaft to come through and the other one for the lock-in piece for the lead screw. It's got the dovetails now to do, and just mill this down to dimension. Right, unfortunately I've run out of time on this video, so I'll have to carry on in the next one, but thanks for watching. That's all folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. I would also appreciate it if you would click the subscribe button, because that will enable me to grow the channel so that I can keep making these videos. Please leave a comment or a question. I do read all of the comments and reply to as many as I can. Thanks for watching.